Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network proudly brings to you its tag team champions of the world, the Road Dogg, Tino Gray, the badass Rob Potsy Potcheck, the Old Age Outlaws. That's right. We're the Potsy and Tino Show, brought to you by the Pots and Pans Network. Our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called The Wrestling Song. You can catch him on Twitter at HootieFan91. You can catch me on Twitter at Potcheck. I've got a Facebook page, a Twitter, an Instagram. What else do I have? Do I have any of the other social medias? Oh, I have a Snapchat, but I don't ever use it. Tino, I completely made it so the YouTube channel did not hear our intro. It was Cody it was either Cody Rhodes or Diamond Dallas Page. I couldn't figure out which one it was going to be this week. But it's been so long since we talked to each other. I feel like Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement.
Exactly. I think I texted you today. I'm like, I don't think we haven't done a show in 20 years, so I think it's time to get together and do one, man. But that's what happens. We love you guys. We love doing this show for you, but sometimes, man, life happens and it gets in the way. I hate it because I love doing these shows, and I miss, coming on here weekly and getting a goof off with you. I mean, I talk to you more than once a week, but being able to get up here and do a show is kind of like my release.
Yeah, it's funny that the interesting thing about that is that honestly, it really is like this is you and me and our actual like weekly chat, so when we don't get to do a show for whatever reason, we might not actually talk to each other for 2 weeks sometimes. So for everyone out there that actually like listens to the show or watches us on YouTube, yes, this is two guys getting together, talking about what's going on with them, and then of course talking about our passion for pro wrestling. So Tino, over the past couple weeks, I know that you took the whole family out to vote.
Yes. Well, actually, we went in spurts. So Nicole and Matthew went before school. They had a 2-hour delay on the actual day that the voting day. I think it was the 6th. So they had a 2-hour delay. So he went with her in the morning. I was off work. So when I picked him up in the afternoon, he went with me to vote. So he went twice. And then Haley, it's her first time voting. She's 18, and she's turned 18 last August, and this is her first chance to vote. So she's very excited. I'm very proud that she took it upon herself. She went and she voted.
Awesome. It's good to hear. Everybody should exercise the right to vote. It is your right and your privilege. And of course, it means that you actually have a reason to complain when everything goes and the shit hits the fan.
You see it on my Facebook. I'm like, if you don't vote, you don't have any right to complain. Hashtag shut the hell up. Do you like that?
I mean, it's true. You really don't get you didn't exercise your right to complain, so you don't get to complain. It's how it should be. However, the way that the world is now, everybody complains about everything and anything anyway. So Tino, we have talked about it off air multiple times. We have not talked about it on air. Haley's got a boyfriend.
Yeah, Haley's got a boyfriend, and he's a good kid. He's a good kid. I can't say, can't say anything bad about him. He's real good. My daughter, he's one of those when I think it's just him. So even when he doesn't think we're looking, he's opening doors for her and carrying her books and carrying stuff for her. Won't let her carry anything. And when they go out, he pays for her. So he treats her good. I had to put the fear of God into him, but we did have fun with her. I think it was last week and the weekend before. She had to work, and so I'm like, you know what? I hadn't had a chance to, just him and I hang out, him and I bond. So I picked him up after church, and I took him running errands with me. And the whole time he's texting Haley. I'm like, what are you doing? He's texting her stuff like, your dad's being mean to me, and he's slapping me around, and he's telling me to shut up. I am dying, right? So I'm like, all right, we got to keep this up. So we get home, and she's at home, and Nicole's home, and she's in the bathroom cleaning the bathroom, doing her chores and stuff. So I'm like, all right, we're going to go in here, and we're going to keep this going. So he comes in the house, and he kind of sits at the kitchen table like that, like he's like, Haley's like, where's him? He's over there. Go talk to your boyfriend. It's right there. And so she went over to him, and I can tell, she kind of leaned in, and she's like, pretty much, are you all right? And asking him, what was going on. And they were whispering, so I couldn't hear what they were saying. And all of a sudden, she just got up and just walked right by me. She didn't look at me, so I walked over to him like, dude, what happened? I said, what'd you say? He said, oh, man, she's crying. I'm like, all right, so we got to go. So we went in the bathroom. I went into a bathroom where she was. I said, Haley. And she looked at me, and you could tell that she was mad. And I just started laughing at her. And she's like, and then he came around the corner and he was laughing. And the look on her face when it clicked that we were messing with her, that made it all worthwhile. And he was like, I'm like, what'd you tell her? She's like, he's telling me that you jacked him by a shirt like this and had me against the wall. So you better be good to my daughter. And you kept back at him like, back. I was like, shut the fuck up. Bouncing, jumping at him. I'm like, Haley, come on now. But we got her good. So he's a good kid. So you can help me tease my daughter. You're a good kid.
Well, that's pretty good, man. Because you had been teasing the hell out of him for
I still did.
Weeks. Yeah,
he's still scared of me, and I'll text him every once in a while like, dude, what's your problem? Oh, what sir? Nothing, sir. And I'm like, all right, I didn't keep that in check, and I told him, and Haley's like, well, he said that you told him that if he ever hurt me, that they never find the body. I'm like, well, that is true. I did tell him that.
I mean, your father-in-law's Italian, so
yep, and I think he knows where Jenny Hoffa is.
Yeah. It's in the Meadowland. Everybody knows that. But
and so we've had a lot of happening going on in the Gray. The big thing that's happening at the Gray house is so a couple of weeks ago when we had the hurricane, I told you, I think it was like they had to change my neighbor's gas meter because that's where we were smelling gas. So, and then
you weren't putting your face up to his butthole or anything.
No. So, and then a couple of weeks ago, Nicole had stomach flu. So now the stomach flu's back. And last night she got home and she's like, I smell gas in the house. I'm like, what? I'd had the windows open. So I figured it came in from out back. So yeah, come to find out, we had to call the emergency gas people. They came and they checked around our brand new HVAC unit, which I don't think he was 2 years old, had like leaks, I guess it was leaking. And then we had on our meter. I'm like, really? So they turned the gas off last night, and because they had to get the HVAC guys to come check out the system, and they're like, well, we can't check the system for a gas leak if the gas is off. I'm like, and so I called the gas company, like, well, they have tools, they can check. I'm like, somebody better fix and cut my gas back on.
Why are we still having this conversation with you?
Yes,
and I'm the one person not doing anything with the stuff. Yeah.
So because my hot water and heat is what runs on gas. I'm like, it's supposed to get down to the 20s this weekend. I'm like, I want this done. So we finally got all that situated. Nicole that's what took me so long to get on here tonight. She is out down for the count. She didn't go to school today. She went to the doctor today. She's not going back. She didn't go to school. She's not going to work tomorrow. They said either she's got the stomach flu again, there's a diverticulitis, or there's H. pylori, some kind of intestine bacteria stuff. I'm like, oh my God. But she does. She woke up 2:30 this morning. It was just coming out of both ends. I'm like, yeah, that's lovely.
Yes, that is not lovely, by the way.
Yeah, so that's the excitement going on in the Gray house. That's a big not lovely. Yeah,
yeah, not lovely. That's the other end of the spectrum. Wow. So I'm glad we actually didn't set this up to do this live and in person tonight, because you probably would have given me the stomach flu.
Nah, I think I'm good for now. I'm like, I try to stay away. I'm like, out here, she's back there. I'm like,
I still remember that one time you invited me over to the house, and I was getting ready to come over, and I was like, oh no, it's too late. We'll just do the episode from wherever. And then all of a sudden, like 3 days later, you guys are all in the hospital or something.
We all had a stomach flu. We were in quarantine. I remember that. Nicole and I were sick, and one were in the bed, and Haley was sick. Man, they were like, oh God. I remember that.
That was horrible. And you invited me over. I would have been a part of that.
Yeah, you would have been a part of that. It's because Nicole, every year, it never fails when school starts. She goes back to school, goes back to work, and gets around those kids, or as I call them, the host monkeys, and brings stuff home.
Yeah, it's the deadly Motaba virus from Outbreak. You got to watch out for that.
God, man. So, and that's about the excitement. I got a DJ, a private party, a friend of mine from church. It's his 21st birthday this Saturday, the 10th of November. And then today was my property that I was on. Remember, I told you up for sale. The sale became final today, so I get to float for 2 weeks until the 26th when my property is ready for us all to go on there. So a lot going on.
And that'll be the week after Thanksgiving. So
Yeah,
so lots going on there. That's pretty
lots going
awesome.
on.
That's pretty awesome.
What about you?
Nothing going on with the Tino Gray 3.
Oh yeah, we got a couple. I think we don't have another trio show until just December. Yeah, we got another one coming up in December. So yeah, I'm still I get on my Facebook page. I got a Facebook page, just a basic page right now with just the picture. I got to fill in all the bio and stuff, and it's just finding time to do that too.
I also see that you haven't shaved your head in a little while. You got
Yeah,
like
I was going to do it last night, but we didn't have any gas. I couldn't take a shower, so that's when we hop off here. That's the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hop in the shower and shave because this is driving me absolutely bananas. The gray.
Well, it's no shave November, man. Like I didn't this year I did not do, and I decided not to sign up for Movember or anything because no one else wants to sit there and do it with me. So I was like, all right, I'm not doing it this year. So I just didn't shave the beard, and I'm not going to shave for the rest of the year now. Now that we're in November, so it's no shave November, and what I like to call November beard. So I will be.
You can grow a beard. I can't grow a beard. Mine comes out all splotchy and stuff. So otherwise, I would grow this thing out.
So you're like that picture going around on the internet about, I guess it's a basketball player who can't grow a beard, so he's got like 4 patches on his face, and it's like, oh, this is my November beard.
Yeah, and it looks like it'll come together a little bit. So I mean, I don't know. I might one day just let it keep going to see how far I can go up. But Nicole doesn't like beards anyway, so even if I grew it, she'd be like, "It's time to shave it." Like this, it drives her bananas. It's driving her crazy right now.
So the last time you were here was about 3 days after my brother-in-law Shane started his keto diet.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I decided I wasn't going to do full keto because I still want a potato every so often. But I decided I was gonna go ahead and start up a diet myself. New regimen, if you will, and eat better for myself. So I've cut out. I have not had pasta in 2+ weeks. I have not had rice in 2+ weeks. I've had 1 biscuit and 1 potato in the last 2+ weeks now, and I can easily say, Tino, that the only other thing I miss is dessert. And it's interesting because at this point I've now lost almost 15 pounds in just 2 weeks, so almost a pound a day. And at this point it's not just water weight that's coming off; it actually is regular weight. But it's interesting, man, because it takes a little while. Your head gets all floaty and stuff. Like right now talking to you, like my head just started to float off a little bit. But it's interesting because I had my semi-annual doctor's appointment set up for today, and he wanted me to go in for labs ahead of time. So I was like, the last time I went in there, I was the heaviest I'd ever been going into the doctor's. Now, and what's worse than that is I gained like 3 pounds after that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I went in there today, and I don't know about you, but to me, it's almost like a heavyweight fight, like trying to cut everything off.
Yep.
I'm almost taking my shirt off and stuff to get on the scale because I'm like I got to drop every ounce I can, and no, I was actually lighter than I had been in my last. I think it was 4+ visits to the doctor. Nice. Yeah, so I lost like I said, I've lost about 15 pounds. But even weirder than that, man, is that like all of a sudden I have more energy. I never have heartburn now. Like it's crazy.
So what are you eating if you're not eating like bread and potatoes and pasta?
A lot of zucchini.
A lot of zucchini.
A lot of zucchini. Spaghetti squash. Salads. But here's the funny thing: I can still eat meat. I can still eat, I had a burger a couple days ago, but I just didn't eat it on a sandwich roll. I just ate it, cutting it up, which to me is perfectly fine. I don't care. I went to the store and I found pitas that actually only have 6 grams of carbs in them, so you can actually eat those. So I can still make sandwiches if I want to. Like I had a sandwich for lunch yesterday that I built out of a pita. So I mean, like, and today I've used one of those pitas and made pizza out of it because I was like, well, I don't want to be that guy that's trying to figure out how to make like a cauliflower crust or anything for pizza. So I was like,
Been there, done that.
yeah, how did that taste?
Actually, it wasn't that bad. I mean, you could tell it wasn't a pizza, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I probably wouldn't do it again, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
So I'm going to go ahead and state for those listening to the show, not watching the show, that Tino's face when he started talking about that kind of made like that he smells a bad fart look.
Yeah, I was
And
like,
it's that's just nasty, you know.
Nasty. Well, that's cool, dude. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm a meat and potatoes guy. Giving up carbs, I mean, because I like my bread and I like my potatoes. So, but if it works for you, I might give it a try.
Dude, I'll tell you, I was skeptical of it, but you know, like, my brother-in-law Shane decided he was going to go out and buy like a spaghetti squash. Now, the problem with spaghetti squash is like the prep time. It takes like 45 minutes to prep it, so you have to, yeah, because you have to like cook it by itself first, then you have to open it up and then like get everything out of it.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, the consistency and everything of it, like, it's crazy. When you peel it out, it looks like spaghetti coming out of like a vegetable. Like, it's crazy. I don't know how, like, I just don't know how they did this. Like, they've got to genetically manufacture this thing. It can't just be regular squash.
Now I'm down with zucchini. I love zucchini.
But yes, now I love zucchini, and like what they do is they basically like almost cut it on one of those like butterfly things to cut it up, so it actually almost looks like noodles. So my only recommendation there is if you go somewhere or if you get like zucchini noodles from the store, after you cook the noodles, you know, so they got a little heat to them, drain them. Because it just seems to just the whole bowl is full of water.
Yeah.
It's really odd because like the last thing you want if you're eating like pasta sauce or something, you don't want all this other stuff like know all over everything. So anyway, but what's really cool is, you know, I've found some places that I can actually get food that I like. I can eat buffalo wings anytime I want. I try not to eat fried stuff at all right now, just because like I'm still supposed to keep the saturated fats down because of, you know, having heart surgery a couple of years ago and all. But no, dude, it's crazy because there's a place called Noodles and Company, and they have a Parmesan crusted chicken, and cheese isn't bad for you, so you can sit there and get the Parmesan crusted chicken, and it's pretty low in carbs. If you get zucchini's all dietary fiber, so all the carbs that are in it are actually just helping your body like go to the bathroom, you know.
Nice.
So there's lots of stuff that you can do, and then today I went over to Walmart, and I'll go ahead and I'll give a review of it right now. There's some Slim Fast stuff that they've got out there that's like that, you know, Slim Fast shakes, but they actually have a keto one, which is all made with like coconut oils and everything else. So it's like all natural stuff, or at least they say it is. I mean, it's still a ground powder, but it's delicious, and it's 4 grams of carbs. So like you can, you know, if you don't have time for breakfast in the morning or whatever, you make this 8-ounce shake, you drink it down real quick, and you're pretty much tied over till about lunchtime. So
yeah, that's what in the morning I'm looking because it's over there. I got this. That's what I have in the morning. It's like a plant-based chocolate powder kind of thing. It's plant-based, got all those proteins and you know, everything you need in it. And then you can make it like and put some ice in it, and I use the almond milk, and that's good. And you can put a banana in there, so I'll throw a banana in there for a little consistency and a little taste, and maybe some strawberries. And that's what I do for breakfast and going about my business.
Well, fruit because it's high in sugar is high in carbs, so I don't use any fruit. But literally, like the way this thing is, you mix it with 8 ounces.
You don't have to. I just use it for the taste sometimes to add a little.
Oh yeah, no, I know, and I miss fruit juices, things like that. Like it's part of the things that I absolutely do like, and you know, now I'm not dealing with any of that.
What about beer?
So Shane and I went to the supermarket the other day, And you know, I was telling him, I was like, well, I'd read that, you know, there's certain beers that are actually low carb. And he's like, well, okay, which ones? So we started looking, you know, it's like Bud Select 55 has like 2 grams or 1.8 grams of carbs. So, you know, you can drink 4 or 5 of them. But the problem with that beer is it's only like 2% alcohol. So
Yeah.
it's not really beer,
Not
you
really
know.
beer. It's like a Zima.
Yeah, kind of. So, but like, for example, Michelob Ultra is 2.6 grams of carbs and 4.2% alcohol. So it's actually full alcohol content of a beer. So, you know, you drink 4 or 5 of those, and you actually on this kind of diet, because you don't have all those carbs in your system, it tends to cancel out some of that. So it's almost like, you know, when you're eating a bunch of carbs and you're drinking like an 8% beer and getting like drunk pretty quick off of it. So it works. Like literally, if I decide I'm just gonna eat like salad and like chicken for lunch or whatever, and then I come home and I want a couple beers, I'm still keeping well within like a 40 carb day, which, you know, like I said, I'm not trying to do full keto, which is what Shane's doing, which is like 20 grams of carbs or less for the day. And, you know, to me, that just sounds like you're restricting yourself too much. And I don't want to feel restricted. So
Yeah.
if I decide I want to, you know, have a biscuit for breakfast, I'm going to go have a biscuit for breakfast sometimes. But no, it works out really well, man. Now getting off the diet stuff, and folks, if you're out there having a diet or whatever, if you wanna feel at least a little inspired, I took a before picture and I took a 2 weeks in picture, posted them on my Facebook and my Instagram. I wanna give a shout out to Kevin Smith for as much weight as he's lost, Mick Foley for as much weight as he's lost. You know, those guys are really inspiring with how much weight they're losing. I'm trying to do the same thing. The thing is that, like, you know, everyone's got to do it their own way. But I went ahead and I posted 2 different pictures, and Tino, you saw them. You told me to stop posting porn online, but
I was joking though. You did. You can't tell a difference in the shape of the way your stomach is. Like you have the love handles in the first one, and then you can tell where you're slimming out. So I'm like, damn, that was awesome. I was just being a smart ass, but it's awesome, dude. I'm proud of you.
It's funny because you know, Ward, my former tag team partner here on the podcast, he posted a picture of DDP going like
I saw that.
and he's like, bro, you know what you need to do next, bro. You know, and yeah, I do need to get back on the DDP yoga, because I think that'll probably have me hit a goal weight that is well below what I actually thought that I could do at this point. But yeah, so on the other side of stuff, I mean, we're already 20 minutes in. We haven't even talked about wrestling yet.
Yeah,
on the other side of stuff, second issue of Junior High Horrors has an official launch date of November 28th.
Nice.
So it will be in stores on November 28th. And then today, I just got the numbers in, and Junior High Horrors #1 made the top 400 in comics for the month of September.
Shut up.
So nice. Yeah, so that is the first comic that I've actually had hit the top 400. So I want to thank everybody that listens to our show, that watches us on YouTube, anybody that gave a chance to Junior High Horrors. Absolutely blew me away. Thank you so much. Looks like the second issue is going to do the same thing. I'm wearing my JB shirt today.
I saw that.
My Frederick shirt right now. I actually have some cool new shirts planned that I may be launching shortly, because the covers for issues 2, 3, and 4 are all too good not to have t-shirts made out of. So thank you, folks. And yes, if we can continue this trend of sales being where they are, we will look into doing the plushes, which is what everybody's been asking about.
Nice.
Solicitation for issue #4 is in. So now, as soon as I finish the script for #4, that was the initial allotment that we were guaranteed. It does look like, as long as issue 3's numbers come in somewhere around where issue 2's numbers came in, the book will continue past #4.
Yes,
so awesome. Also talked to my artist on my other book that has not been announced yet, and you know, he's got some other stuff going on, but he is still committed to doing the book, so that's pretty awesome too. But yeah, so lots of good stuff going on with the comics. I did a little thing at Cardinal Gibbon with Cardinal Gibbons High School where they actually help a youth group. There's pictures of it on our on my Twitter page of me basically doing art for underprivileged kids. Thought that was pretty cool. We announced Lewis Small, the former artist of Vampirella, actually doing a cover for issue #2 for Arkham Comics. And we have a special guest artist doing a cover for #3 for Arkham Comics, but not allowed to announce it just yet. So that's what's going on with the comics. Issue 3, I saw artwork for it today. Looks phenomenal. I think everybody is going to love reading the book that Robert Kirkman may have called awesome at San Diego Comic-Con. So Tino, that's what's going on with me, brother.
On to wrestling.
So, okay, so we haven't talked in a while, so we absolutely have Evolution pay-per-view, and I have to tell you, the last woman standing match did not disappoint at all. Absolutely phenomenal match. The Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler match, also phenomenal. And Shayna Baszler went ahead and cemented her legacy, being a 2-time NXT Women's Champion, and putting together, I guess, 3 of her 4 horsewomen, as was prominent on tonight's episode of NXT.
Yes, and I was fairly surprised at the Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey match too. That went over better than I thought it would.
Definitely looked like it was completely scripted from the get-go to the end. I was gonna make a bad 90s music joke of from the window to the wall.
But for what it was, it was.
I thought you were doing a Gold Dust impression there for a second. For what it was.
Champions of the we are the world.
So for what it was, no, you're absolutely right. Like you know what it was? It was in the same vein as like Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. You know, it was, and obviously, like, people are going to say that's sacrilege to say something like that. But what I mean is that it played up both of their strengths, it kept away their weaknesses, and it told the story that it needed to, that Ronda Rousey is unbeatable, even if you have twins trying to beat her.
Yes.
So the question is, because we also had Nia Jax win the Women's Royal Rumble or Battle Royal. I'm sorry, it wasn't a Royal Rumble, but had her win the Battle Royal. So that means that we're going to get the rematch of Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. But when is that going to take place? It's not going to be Survivor Series.
I guess it'll be the pay-per-view after.
You think they'll do that, or do you think they'll hold it off to Royal Rumble time?
Well, I would normally say no, but because of what happened this Monday, they might.
They might hold it off?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it does look like they're going to go with the Nia Jax versus Ember Moon little feud for a while.
It looks like they're going to try to team her with Tamina.
You know what? If they do the women's tag team championships, I am totally down with a Twin Towers, Natural Disasters. I'm trying to think of
SWAT team.
Legion of Doom. You know, like calling them the Samoan SWAT team would be perfect.
Yes.
You know, I would be completely down with that. In fact, give them Paul Heyman as their mouthpiece.
You want to give Paul? You want to give everybody Paul Heyman as the mouthpiece? Absolutely.
I just want Paul Heyman out on Monday Night Raw for 3 hours talking.
It was funny because I was listening to, because I know you don't like Conrad Thompson, but I was listening to him and Tony Schiavone. They were talking about Halloween Havoc, and they were saying how when Ron Simmons was the world champion in WCW, they said that he was a total package. I mean, he was athletic, he had the power. The only thing he didn't have with the mic skills. They said, what if they had put him with a Paul Heyman? You know how awesome that would have been.
Well, remember though, back then when we're talking about young Paulie dangerously, we're not even talking about Paul Heyman, and we're not talking about the Paul Heyman with the mic skills that he's got now. Where if you actually watch the Q&A of Mick Foley 20 Years in Hell after watching the actual 20 years of Hell in a Cell, you actually hear him say that when he worked for ECW and Paul Heyman was helping him with his promos, like the Kane Dewey promo and everything else, he just let him go because it was all about the emotion, right? And he said so I got all that across, I got all that emotion across, but the difference is that like I still didn't get it where I nailed every one of my pieces without missing a beat, and that's what Paul Heyman does. Paul Heyman goes out there with like three little kernels of what he wants to talk about, and by the time he's done, he's set up an oak tree, and but back then he didn't, because this was before, like he had that conversation with Dusty Rhodes where Dusty Rhodes said, go out there for 6 minutes, sell me the match, baby. And he goes out there and he's sitting there, and all of a sudden they're telling him to run long and keep going and keep going. So he gives 13 minutes of just pure heart from himself and everything. And what we end up getting instead is he goes backstage and he's like, so how was that, Dusty? And Dusty goes, that was great, baby, but where's the money? Because Paul Heyman didn't have the skill back then to actually make you put your butt in a seat. That's why our wrestling group's been talking about, like, right now it looks like we're going to get Brock Lesnar, the Universal Champion, against Daniel Cormier in January in the UFC. And if we actually get that, the joke is whether or not they're going to have Paul Heyman come out and be like, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. Actually, like, could you imagine people losing their shit if Paul Heyman actually came out? Like first of all, Brock Lesnar's going to get booed in a UFC arena because they look at him as a guy that keeps bouncing back and forth. Well, Daniel Cormier is also looked at as the people's champ in UFC, to quote, to use the name of The Rock there. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. But anyways, yeah, I would love to have. I think that Nia and Tamina being packaged together would be devastating.
Yes.
I would be totally cool with that. So yeah, I think they're trying to hold them off from each other. I think they're trying to build up something else so that way when we finally get that match, it's what it needs to be. Because right now it also looks like Alexa Bliss is going to be injured for the foreseeable future, and it almost looks like they're putting her into a leadership role on the show where she may be Baron Corbin's understudy rather than an actual wrestler for the time being.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What does she do?
What do you mean? What does she do?
If she's hurt, what is she hurt? What's going on with her?
Nobody really knows. They thought she broke her nose, but it doesn't look like she broke her nose. So I mean, it could be any number of things. I just, more than anything else, I just hope she's okay and it's not a career-threatening injury because she would be sorely missed in this industry. The way that she has lit up the women's division like a bat out of hell. Like she came up from NXT never having won anything, and all of a sudden she was the first 2-time women's champion on both programs. Like that's. It just goes to show you, like some people just get it, and Vince actually sees something in them and lets them run with it, and she's been able to do that. Now, granted, no one's ever going to say that she gives 5-star matches, but I mean, she's magic on the microphone. So, yeah. So we got to see that. We got to see, we got to see Trish Stratus and Lita actually take on Mickie James and Alicia Fox. It just sounded like you were burping. Anyway. But we got to see that match, and then the next night we got to see them come out again, and I was a little bit shocked by that. Like I kind of thought that they were just going to be a one and done and off the show, but that took a week and now they're gone.
Yeah. Also, that next night we got Goodbye Roman Shield, Roman Reigns.
Yeah. So yeah, we let's go ahead and tackle the elephant in the room. It seems that Roman Reigns had been suffering from leukemia and had to relinquish the title. And I mean, it was nice to see that the WWE universe dropped their "We hate Roman Reigns" for 5 minutes to actually give the man the credit he deserved and saying thank you to him for
Yeah.
how he was stepping down. Now, granted, he stepped down, but he totally came out and said this is not goodbye forever. This is just goodbye for now. And and I like hearing that because it really does show the amount of fight that cat's got. And interestingly enough, later on in that evening, we before the later on in the evening, but at the beginning of that, like after he was done, the Shield comes out, they do the fist bump, and Seth Rollins is visibly crying. Dean Ambrose looks like he's trying to hold it in. Apparently, the WWE did not disclose any of that information about who was suffering from anything until Roman went out there onto the stage and actually into the ring to give that speech. So I think they did it the right way. I have to assume though that Roman had probably discussed it with these two guys because they ride together.
I don't know though. I think he definitely told Vince because Vince knew, and they said Vince didn't tell anybody. He told Creative the day of Raw. And what I also found interesting was they finally, and I don't know if it was scripted or she just did it herself. Renee finally acknowledged, yeah, he rides on that with my husband Dean. So she acknowledged on the air that was her husband.
Yeah, and we'll get to, I'm getting ready to talk about the end of Raw because
Yes.
the beginning of Raw was extremely sad. It was somber. It was kind of like Edge retiring, Daniel Bryan stepping down.
Shawn Michaels lost a smile.
No.
Sorry.
No, but when Shawn Michaels lost to the Undertaker at WrestleMania, when Ric Flair lost, and they brought him out at the end of the night, like all that kind of stuff. I mean, it really was one of those moments that you just, I mean, it's heartbreaking. Here's a guy that couldn't make it as a football player, went to his family heritage and basically, worked his way up through the channels that were set up with the performance center and everything else, and made his way to the WWE and became one of the top stars. I'm not gonna say that I'm a huge fan of his or anything else. I did love when the Shield first came up. But then he was an exposed superstar when he went solo, and I think they knew that, but Vince was determined. And you and I have had the conversation both on and off the air that cousins of The Rock get special dispensation.
Yeah.
So, but our thoughts and prayers with Roman Reigns and his family. Get well soon, champ. We want to boo you when you come back. So we do know that you will be more over than you've ever been when
he comes back. He's gonna be a big heel. He's gonna come out to the heel pop.
Dude, no way. Like if he beats leukemia, and I guess when he beats leukemia, because he's determined to do it. He is going to get the biggest face pop that there is. Like there's.
Is it going to be a Stone Cold pop?
No one's gonna boo him at this point.
A Road Warrior pop?
It might be a Hogan in Montreal pop.
Or one of the times Triple H came back.
No, I don't. Back a lot. No, it's it's gonna be bigger than the Blue Tista pop.
Okay.
So anyways, yeah, and at the end of the show, we had Dean Ambrose turn on Seth Rollins after they won the tag team championships. Now, what didn't make any sense here is that they worked the entire match together, working side by side, tagging in and out, never having that moment where one of them hit the other one accidentally or anything. It literally was just, we go through the whole match as a team working together, and then as soon as the match is over, they embrace in a hug, and then Dean Ambrose gives them the dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
Yeah, I didn't understand it either, and I think a lot of things on YouTube I was reading and on the internet that they wanted to go ahead because while the Roman, in which they were saying they were taking advantage of the people's emotions on Roman Reigns thing, and that's why they went ahead and changed, made him it impacted the heel turn impacted more that night than it would have if they'd have waited, you know.
Well, I definitely think that's the case, because I think that they're still in a holding pattern on exactly what the heel turn is, because like Ambrose hasn't said anything. You know, he's coming out like Chris Jericho when he would come out and just grab the mic and then put the mic down and leave. It's like, what the hell's going on? But
Yeah.
but you know, as much as they did that, as much as they played on the emotions there negatively, they did turn Elias babyface in the same time.
Yes.
So and you know that when they did that, they were doing that totally because they knew that when Dean Ambrose goes heel, they're going to have another hot baby face, and Elias was already getting the entire crowd to chant with him.
And they also turned Strowman babyface that night too.
Yeah, but they kind of had to, because Vince doesn't like two heels going against each other in the big match.
So
And
is Brock a heel or is he a face?
well, he's definitely heel the way that he left, and now like everybody in the WWE universe, it just transcends hate towards Brock because he really does come and go as he pleases, and now the championship is just, you know, hijacked again.
Worthless.
I wouldn't say it's worthless, because I mean, here we are talking about a guy that's going to be, you know, fighting for the UFC heavyweight championship as well. And you know, if Vince has made a deal with Dana White that lets Brock show up with the Universal Championship in arms, and all of a sudden he wins the UFC championship, and suddenly he's showing up on Monday Night Raw wearing both championships, you know, there's something to be said about that. Like it's transcending. It's not little at that point, you know. But anyways, yes, they did turn Braun Strowman babyface again, just like 4 weeks after he had turned heel. And then we got that match at Crown Jewel. Did you watch Crown Jewel?
Yes, I did.
So Baron Corbin hits Braun Strowman on the back of the head. They say in the back of the neck, hits him wherever. And then he proceeds to take 5 F5s from Brock Lesnar, including one to the outside floor. And
Yes.
from the ring, folks. So if you haven't seen this, Brock Lesnar picks him up and drops him on his face outside the ring from inside the ring. So this isn't just your normal, oh, he just did it on the steel. No, it like he literally just dropped him out of the ring. So there's rumors now that Braun Strowman is in trouble with the brass.
And what did he do?
Apparently what everyone's saying, based on what they're hearing, is that he's showing up late all the time, he's leaving early all the time, and it's like every time he's built up favor with the WWE creative or the people in charge, he seems to do something that basically sticks his foot in his mouth and causes him to take two steps back. And that's the going story as to right now why he is not the Universal Champion. But I got to ask you, Tino, if that were really the case and they were going to punish him on a show like Crown Jewel, Brock Lesnar would have hit him with one F5 after getting hit in the back of the head, and the match would have been over.
Yeah.
They purposely didn't do anything to not make him look strong here. They did everything they could to make him look like an unstoppable monster that was going to continue to get up, and it took 5 of the Beast Incarnate's best move to put him down for the count.
Yes.
Including, like I said, 1 to outside the ring. So I don't believe that Braun Strowman is not is it. I do not believe that he's in trouble. What I believe is that what they're going to do is play up a story very similar to when Steve Austin was not able to get the championship way back in the day, and the authority figure, in this case Baron Corbin, is the one holding him back. And now that we're getting close to Royal Rumble time, I think that the month of December through the Royal Rumble, Braun Strowman will be told that he has no chance of getting into the Royal Rumble. He'll get fired at some point, maybe even hijack the show and basically force Baron Corbin into letting him into the Royal Rumble, which at this point would make him the #1 entrant in the Royal Rumble.
I agree.
I mean, that's great storytelling if you want to make him into the monster over babyface to face Brock Lesnar. You protect Brock, you do all that, and you make the story all about Braun. And so far, this past Monday, that's what they did because Baron Corbin kept running from Braun Strowman.
Now, so the other match I want to talk about, which I thought was awesome, I love this match, was DX and the Brothers of Destruction. And Triple H wrestled half that match with a torn pec and could not use his right arm for a majority of that match. Did you notice that?
Oh yeah, yeah. And well,
my favorite part of that match was, and he was on the outside when he was supposed to sling Kane into the barrier, and he kind of like pulled him, and Kane kind of like, okay, and threw himself into the barrier.
And they both went in, yeah. And then Triple H just kept moving, like, okay, that's just the way it was, like.
Yeah.
But, you could really tell how much he was. Well, I'm gonna tell you, the match felt like in certain parts, it actually felt like when you're on a really cool ride at like Disney World and you're not supposed to see behind the scenes, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the whole ride stops and lights come on.
Yeah. And that's what happens when he got thrown out of the ring. And you could tell when he got hurt because he was on the floor and the ref kept coming over to him and they were buying time. You could tell. And I think he was telling them, hey, tell them to leave my arm alone because I'm hurt.
Well, yeah. And like, but you could really tell like there was a back body drop that he was supposed to do at one point. At one point, you could see him lift his legs up so that Calloway could pick him up to do like the tombstone. And of course, it was supposed to be like the tombstone that he peels himself off of. And I mean, it was just like, it was like watching a slinky not want to come apart, like,
and one of those pedigrees he did, you could tell the Undertaker just fell before it. Undertaker started falling just a couple of seconds before Triple H went to go move the move.
Well, I think that was in concern for his own face hitting the ground, because when you sell a pedigree correctly, your face just goes into the ground. But the Undertaker always puts his knee in the way, so he only takes half of one anyway. But yeah, you could definitely tell and I'm trying to show the motion, and it's funny, I got a flu shot today, so my arm's all like tightened up. But you could see that he couldn't do this motion to get his arms in like the butterfly to actually pull up the arms behind Calloway's back to have him go for the pedigree. And then he did the same thing to Kane for the win. Now I am going to tell you, watching Shawn Michaels as a bald man, loved it. It was
weird. It was weird.
It was totally weird. My favorite moment of the entire match, though, was when he went to the top rope and he went, "What the hell?" And he did the moonsault and he hit, and it looked like he took the brunt of everything, and he just kind of fell into the Undertaker and Kane, but you knew at that point he was like, "What the hell, bro? Let's just do it."
And another one of those moments were at the end of the match, when him and Triple H are sitting in a corner and they can't get up, and he looks at Triple H and goes, you can read his lips saying, "We're too old for this."
What I thought was hilarious was that he had a bloody nose at that point, and it wasn't just a bloody nose. Like, he was going like this and it was bleeding. He just kept going like, and he looks at him, he's like, "I got a bloody nose." And Triple H is like, "I got a torn pec." And then interestingly enough, to get up from that moment, like Triple H put his left arm around Michaels and lifted Michaels up, but you could tell he had nothing he had nothing left in him, and the arms dangling, and he's like, we gotta hold our arms up, man. We gotta raise our arms. And the only problem that I have with these two matches, yes, I think Shawn Michaels should have gotten the win in his return, but I totally think that the Undertaker should have went over in one of these two matches, and for whatever reason he didn't get to. And I don't know. It obviously doesn't tarnish his history or his career. They did look better in this match than they did at Super Showdown.
Yes.
Uh, Kane looked like it's funny, man. Like Kane normally can still go with some of the younger dudes, but he was the one that seemed like he was holding this match back.
When he lost his mask.
Oh yeah. And did you notice by the end of the match he put the mask back on?
Yes.
He should have just left it off at that point.
Look, we've seen you without it, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Like what's the point of that? So I don't know.
Now let's get to the part of the pay-per-view that I didn't understand and royally pissed me off.
Do we even have to?
You know where I'm going.
Well, I know that CM Punk is rolling over in his really expensive apartment right now because the WWE did everything they could to give that moniker to a non-wrestler. And here's
not only a non-wrestler, a McMahon.
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So here was the weirdest part about this, okay? Not the fact that he inserted himself so that there would actually be a match. Not any of that stuff, although the match was lackluster. He went coast to coast on Dolph Ziggler, ended up getting the win off of it. But after he won the match, he was jumping around like a 12-year-old kid, kissing the trophy and what?
Mm-hmm. Supposedly he's going to have a heel turn.
Well, yeah. Well, apparently it started on Tuesday, but then he kind of backed off of it in the conversation.
Well, it started on Tuesday before the pay-per-view when he said he was kind of heelish thing and said, you know, anybody, if you make it to the finals and you lose, you're fired.
Well, see, now that would have been great if he'd actually fired The Miz on Tuesday night because The Miz couldn't go, so he was going to lose the match. So Shane should have been like, well, bro, you're fired.
Yeah.
You know, and then, The Miz is such a good heel that he'd have been able to sit there and turn it into a direct babyface turn immediately by being
they were kind of cheering him this past week on SmackDown, if you notice, and he's like, 2/3 of that trophy is mine, and people started yes, and cheering. So I think the Miz is on his way to a face turn.
I think he is too. I think this whole move with Daniel Bryan is going to lead them to have another match. But I wouldn't be surprised if they try to turn Daniel Bryan heel because now that his wife is heel, kind of makes sense that they would both be heels.
Yes.
You know. Now, granted, I don't know if the WWE universe can actually like take a Daniel Bryan heel turn right now.
No, they can't.
But it'll be interesting. Speaking of heel turns, Tino, I'm done talking about these shows unless you want to talk about the lineup for Survivor Series so far. But I want to talk about the heel turn of all heel turns, the white meat babyface himself, Johnny Gargano, being the man who had to be the one that beat up Aleister Black.
Yes.
Now,
I was just going to kill him.
Now, well, yeah, Aleister is going to kill him. But here's, did you notice that? Did you watch NXT this week?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you saw that Candice LeRae, his wife, asked for a match with Nikki Cross. You probably
who's on SmackDown now?
What's up?
Who's on SmackDown now?
Yes. Well, but they were in England, so it kind of makes sense that they would bring her out for that.
Okay.
You know, kind of like when John Cena was the champ, was the Intercontinental champ, or U.S. champ, and he called out whoever in the back, and Sami Zayn came out before he was off of NXT. So it might be a little while before she's actually a full-time performer on SmackDown or whatever. But she was wearing gothish makeup. She was wearing black lipstick. So I think we're in for a heel turn from Candice as well. I think that it's going to be played up as Johnny and I aren't talking, and I can't believe he would change like that. And all of a sudden, she's going to be the one that helps him get the win against Aleister Black. And
my girl Nikki's going to whoop her ass too.
Well, whatever, that's fine. But I think that's what's going to happen. I think Candice is going to turn, and they're doing it slowly. And why would I ever be against my husband and da kind of stuff? But the thing that makes this heel turn so good, because we, up until last night, we hadn't heard from Johnny, and Johnny's still, I'm the same guy I've always been. I I still go for what's right. I still fight for what I believe in, you know, and he's absolutely right. The only change is that sometimes you got to play dirty.
Yep.
Now, what I think's really funny about that is they also took the same approach without the dirt with Elias. Elias in his babyface turn has been, I'm the same guy. You know, it's just now instead of telling the crowd to silence their cell phones and shut the hell up, he's telling Baron Corbin to silence his cell phone and shut the hell up.
It's the same old formula that we've talked about time and time again.
It's already over, so just turn it, baby.
The Stone Cold and The Rock. They changed nothing about their persona. Nothing. The crowd just started cheering them. And like you said, The Rock, instead of, just like Elias, instead of aiming at the fans, he aimed at whoever he was speaking to.
Right. Now, I thought it was, I did think it was great when The Rock did it, because The Rock went from being way, way, way over in arrogance to way, way, way over in confidence.
Yeah.
But yes, absolutely. But the Elias one was, Elias didn't change anything.
No.
He literally is the same Elias so far, except we got to see him wrestle. So the Johnny Gargano heel turn, though, the thing that makes it so good isn't what Johnny's doing, isn't what Aleister Black is doing. It's not even that Nikki Cross is coming out going, I know who did it.
Yeah.
It's Tommaso Ciampa's tweets.
What?
Tommaso Ciampa has now, he posted a picture where it was DX, so it was Triple H and
yes.
Shawn Michaels, and he changed the faces to him and Johnny Gargano again.
Yes.
And he's like, we're getting the band back together. You know, it's like, it's awesome. And then he did another one where he basically said, you know, the night in Chicago when I got hurt and I had to leave and I beat up Johnny because he wasn't ready to see what the crowd was like, that they were turning on us, that they weren't believing in us anymore. Since they weren't buying into that, Johnny needed a little bit longer to actually understand what was going on here. And now Johnny gets it. Now Johnny knows what the deal is. So now Johnny's finally evolving like I did. And now I can finally embrace my best friend again. And it's like, wow. You know, because I think we're still one big match away, one blow-off WrestleMania match away from those two being done with each other in the ring. But like, it's so good that he can sit there and focus on Velveteen Dream, and Johnny can focus on Aleister Black, and we finally get them away from each other, because I mean, those two were going to kill each other in the ring.
Yeah.
Like yes. They were getting to the point where like someone was going to get a serious injury out of that whole mix.
And speaking of Velveteen, he held his own. He held his own against Lars.
Oh, yes, he did. But of course, they got to keep him looking strong. So what do? They bring Tommaso Ciampa down, and Tommaso Ciampa just walks right into an elbow. Like, what the hell? Or an axe handle. I mean, like,
yeah, he jumps off the rope.
Why would you get that close? Like,
maybe because I don't know.
You stay on the top of the ramp and you start running your mouth on the microphone. Like, that's how you don't get beat up as the champ. He literally walked into a beating.
Just pull a Leo Rush.
The big man. The big man.
I'm done with him. He gets to my ever-loving nerve. I wish somebody would shut him up.
Did you notice at Crown Jewel he came out and he started that, and then all of a sudden when the match started, it was done?
Yeah.
No talking during the match.
Yeah, he shut the hell up.
Yeah. It was right. Odd. So Tino, I got nothing left, bro.
Me neither, bro. Me neither. So I say.
So actually, let's go ahead and we'll give our quick thoughts on the Bullet Club. Isn't the Bullet Club anymore?
Yeah, well, I hadn't had a chance to keep up with that. What's going on?
So all the guys that we know as the Bullet Club are now no longer calling themselves the Bullet Club. They're calling
the Elite.
They are calling themselves the Elite. And rumor is that backstage, the reason why they are no longer the Bullet Club is because they didn't make any money off the Bullet Club, because New Japan owns it. So all that merchandise and everything, Matt Jackson came out on the Jericho Cruise and actually said, every time I see one of those shirts and a Too Sweet going up, I made exactly $0.
Oh, damn.
So a lot of the thought there is that they're removing themselves from being called the Bullet Club so that they can go ahead and focus on making their own money. A lot of people also think that it could be because they know that the Bullet Club can survive by itself still in New Japan, because New Japan will keep it going with Tama Tongan, or Tama Tonga. And they're now calling themselves the OG Bullet Club, which I think is funny because Finn and the Good Brothers were all wearing shirts that said OGBC.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
now they're not wearing those anymore.
Yep.
But yeah, so a lot of people actually think that the reason why they have distanced themselves from calling themselves the Bullet Club is so that they can be ready for a big money deal coming down the line in January from
WWE.
From the E.
Double E.
Yes, the double E, as Kurt Angle would call it. So now I am done. I have nothing else. We hit the hour mark, so I'm going to let you take us out of here.
Well, you've already hit all your social medias at the top of the show, but we're going to run them through them again. You
Absolutely.
can find him on Twitter at PotCheck. You can find me at HootieFan91. The show is Potsy and Tino. On Facebook, with the Potsy and Tino Show. As always, we want to say thank you to Adam Housecat for the wrestling song. And until we meet again in another 20 years. No, we'll do better, folks. Until we meet again, you hear Ric Flair off in that big house in the hill in Charlotte, and he is singing, woo, woo, woo. Good night, folks.